Reminiscible here. Why, hello, my fellow gaming enthusiasts and university/college dropouts and people who just want to live at home, look at their anime waifus, and play a lot of video games. I would like to tell you what I know about making money in the easiest way possible. But timing is important. So it is March 1st, 2018. A while ago, price of Bitcoin was around $400 US each. And then it rose to $2,000 US each. And it fluctuates, right? But, because you can mine Bitcoin. And now the price is at almost $11,000 US each. Because of that, like, graphics cards and everything for mining Bitcoin, the price of that skyrocketed. I don't know what the price of graphics cards are now, but if you basically distrust everything I say, you can just buy a graphics card, because in like 50 years, we're going to run out of helium. And helium's used for making graphics cards, probably motherboards too, right? Because helium's not very valuable, so when we look for natural gas or do fracking, we lose the helium into the atmosphere, and and well, it rises to the top of the atmosphere, and some of it's lost to outer space, and we don't get that back. So yeah, graphics cards and Bitcoin price rising. Why the fuck is that happening? Well, let's look at the price trend. Which side's the left? This is the left? This is the right. Oh, this is left. Okay. So price was stable. 4,000 seemed to be the peak price of Bitcoin. And then it like... I wish I could show the chart. Why can't I just... I'm not using OBS, so I can't show the screen, but like... Basically, it jumped up to like almost 20,000 Canadian and then down to 6,000 Canadian. And you go to like the grocery store and the cashier's like, yeah, all I hear about Bitcoin is the price is dropping, the price is dropping. So here's an analogy. Or actually, no. Here's a story of what rich people like to do with their money. They like to invest it and make more. Big oil company, invest in that. Big, I don't know, what's a good investment? Military, oil, any energy, any electrical energy, really. And now Bitcoin. And previously, what investors would do is they would, I don't know what the price is now, probably crashed by now, but like in 2010, ever since 2010, I think, there was a pricing, what do you call when someone just like buys and resells? People would buy up the houses in Bolivia and then like boost the prices. Like there was buy walls on houses in Bolivia, and the prices went up like by times 10 or something. Because like you'd have these houses and people would the government was more fair, because it was for 500 years or however long since the Europeans invaded Bolivia, there was white government. And then, like 2010-ish, the Aboriginals got elected into power, and then the Aboriginals started moving into the cities. And so you have these well-off Aboriginals buying houses, and just, it's kind of like the American dream where like people want to like have fancy houses, and then investors were like, oh, we can take advantage of this. And so everybody bought houses, and the price of houses went up like by times 10, or I don't know what the price is now. Maybe it crashed. And so with Bitcoin, people were like, well, let's do that. Let's just have a buy wall and buy. Once the price hits whatever, well, whoever sells off their stuff first wins. But if you hold it on longer, you can do whatever, sell it higher maybe. And then when it crashes, everybody sells. And so it went from 4,000 USD to like 20,000 Canadian, and then down to 6,000 USD. And now it's around 11 10 to 11,000 USD or 14,000 Canadian. What I did, I had $2,000 worth from July last year, and it went up ×6 price, and I sold it at 13,000 Canadian, and I'm like, hey, that's nice. But now we see that this whole trend is repeating. People are pushing up the price again, and so the best time to buy was when it hit like 6,000 USD, 7,000 Canadian. That was the best time to buy, because that's like that's like the people who trust Bitcoin. That's like that bottom price is from like the Cold War and tax, or the upper price is like from tax evasions and market speculation, but the lower price, the lower bound there, is despite all the bought out media going like, oh, Bitcoin's falling, you should get rid of Bitcoin, Bitcoin's bad, it's gonna crash, it's crashing, sell, sell, sell. Despite all of US and Canadian media saying that, it didn't fall below 6,000, which is higher than it was before all the market speculation. So, and I know because I'm like trying to buy on that night, and people are like, okay, I'll trade you. Never mind, I got cold feet. No, sorry, I'll just hold on to it because the price will rise. Because they know. Bitcoin is just another type of currency, just like Canadian dollars, Australian dollars, euros, USD, pesos. Well, I guess pesos is more than one type of currency, but you get the idea, right? There's there's different currencies, and the currency has its value because we say this is worth one nail filer. I can trade this for another nail filer. It is equal value. This is worth one pen, right? And when someone says, I'll trade you one nail filer for a pen, then you get a bartering system. And when you introduce gold into that, then you can barter for gold. And when you replace gold with paper, and you say, well, this is worth one paper, one $20 paper. I'll sell you 20 pens for your $20 paper slip. And most US dollars are actually virtual. In the banks, it's not real. It's a digital number. Well, how can that be? That's how currency works. And so it's not backed by gold. It's supposedly backed by silver, but US dollars are actually backed by is demand for US dollars. People want US dollars, and so then we have currency. People want to use currency. People trade the currency, so there's demand for that currency, so you can use it in transactions. And so the source of demand for US dollars, which the whole economy is based on, basically every currency is based on the US dollar, and the US dollar is based on the demand for the US dollar, and the demand for the US dollar comes from monopoly on oil. If you have oil, you have to sell through USDs. See, I want to give you this oil. I want 40 pesos for my barrel of oil. That's a good deal. But then America comes in and said, nope, you have to sell in US dollars. So what Gaddafi in Libya said, he was like, no, we should have our own currency that's not based on the US dollar. America went, fuck you, and bombed the shit out of Libya, so it became the worst hellhole, probably like worse than North Korea hellhole on the planet, right? Worst country to live. Well, I guess now Yemen, because of all the like white phosphorus, and Saudi Arabia and US jets just bombing the shit out of everything. Well, not bombing the shit out of everything now, but like blockading everyone so that they can't eat and they can't get medicine, and the babies die and the kids die and the parents die and everybody dies, because that's what happens when you force a country to have a famine, is they starve. So, but other than Yemen, there was a time when Libya was like the worst place to live, when the US was bombing it. And I think, 2016, U.S. dropped 30,000 plus bombs on Iraq and Syria. And then 2017, U.S. dropped 30,000 plus bombs on Iraq and Syria. And so, why? Because oil. Like, I know Afghanistan has like metals or earth metals. I don't know, but in all these countries, Niger, is it Niger? I don't know. I don't want to. People, if you write Niger or Niger, people are like, "Oh, you're being racist." It's like, but it's like the bot tells you you're being racist, but you're like, "No, I'm actually talking about Niger, which is a country. Somalia, Yemen, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Iran, Syria, all these countries. Or I don't think U.S. is bombing Iran yet, but all these countries, basically getting bombed by the U.S. And then there's like, the thing is, Iraq, Iran, Syria, and Russia are allies. And China also has allies, like South Korean. Well, China doesn't want thermonuclear war, Russia doesn't want thermonuclear war, and America doesn't want thermonuclear war. But all these major world powers have nuclear weapons, and so right now what we have is a Cold War, and that's really good for the price of Bitcoin, because basically in a Cold War, America just wants America just wants the monopoly on oil exports, so everybody's using U.S. dollars. But because of what happened in Libya with the whole government getting overthrown and the place getting wrecked to shit and bombed the fuck out of everyone, people are like not trusting the U.S. anymore. So that's blowback from Libya, and that's probably the main reason Hillary Clinton didn't get elected, because she was like the biggest White House advocate to like bomb the shit out of Libya, and so I mean, if you know anyone in Libya, I'm sorry for like bringing this up, but yeah, it's it happened, and like, and there's still these like 8 ongoing wars / interventions in other countries. But anyways, fear creates profit if you're a military contractor or a weapons dealer, and so the RSII coalition, Russia, Iran, Syria, Iraq, they don't want to be completely dependent on U.S. currency, because what the U.S. can do in a Cold War is say, we're seizing all your assets, and that's what happened with Iran, with like, was $5 billion, they like, here, this is ours now, you can't have it. And then there's a nuclear weapons deal where it's like, you can have it back if you don't make nukes. If you let the UN like check to make sure you're not enriching plutonium past a certain point. I'm quoting someone else. I don't even know how nukes are made. Speaking of nukes, it would be great if there was a Manhattan Project scale research initiative to get the planet habitable, because if we can have renewable energy for everybody, then and obviously stop eating meat, of course, then we would stop fucking up the planet's atmosphere, and maybe after like a couple hundred years, our like if we completely stop using fossil fuels today, it's possible that after a couple hundred years, planet would return to normal. And instead of this runaway effect of increased relative humidity and cloud coverage, and like with the water vapor, and water vapor is a greenhouse gas, clouds are greenhouse gas, so then if we continue on the current trajectory, whole planet becomes a desert, except like the poles and the oceans. But like it's hard to grow food on an ocean. I mean, maybe at some point everybody's going to be growing food on oceans and like eating cactuses, but that's probably not going to sustain as many people as we can sustain right now. Just like eating animals can't sustain that many people, because it takes like 6 times as much food to grow, and then our whole agricultural system is based off of petro anyways, so like at least that would stave off the collapse of the the like Monsanto Bayer monopoly on agriculture, because we have petro-agriculture, and that's just going to collapse once we run out of oil, because then how do you get the fertilizers? How do you get the Roundup, the herbicides, pesticides, and the transportation? So those are that's completely off topic, but like yeah. So why does Russia and Syria moving away from the US dollar, why is that good for Bitcoin? Well, what happens if someone says we're going to seize all your assets? And then you say, well, my assets aren't in a US bank. My assets are in my wallet. And my wallet is digital and it's encrypted. And you're going to have to spend 10 years solving these 16 million blocks, which are full of complex algorithms that take a decade for all the computers mining Bitcoin to solve, if you want to forfeit to seize my assets. So the more tension there is between NATO and the RSII coalition, the more like people caught in the crossfire are like, oh, I should probably not trust Wall Street. Maybe I should like keep my money somewhere safe. And a USB drive, I'm not going to pull it out now because I don't want to cause an error, but if I have a USB drive, then that money is mine. All I need is a root key, and then like download the blockchain, type in my root key, and then there's all my money. And you can convert that to paper cash or gold bars by trading on local Bitcoin and withdrawing it as paper money, and then trading the paper money at a jeweler, and there's your gold or whatever. Every form of currency is tied to every other form of currency. You can't be completely independent of the US dollar or whatever the Russian dollar is. You can't be independent of a currency. But when there is massive asset forfeiture, when there are rich companies not wanting to pay taxes, when there are what was the other thing? So yeah, obviously there's tax evasion. Bitcoin is good for tax evasion, which is illegal, or unless you're really rich, and then it's fine because rich people can evade taxes. But at least under the current law system. But yeah, tax evasion, dodging asset forfeiture. Oh yeah, and like just global economic collapse. Anytime one of those things happen, price of Bitcoin holds its value a bit better, because like to trade currency, the Bitcoin's like the safest way to trade currency, because if the bank just goes bankrupt, are you going to go to the bank to trade your currency? Are you going to go to the bank to store your money? Are you going to go to the bank to like withdraw your cash when they say like, sorry, we're bankrupt? Like, there's already been a bailout of Wall Street. Wall Street has already fucking gone bankrupt. Wall Street already fucked up and couldn't, like... Why would you trust... Why would you trust Wall Street more than, like, blockchain? When, like... I think every single voting system, every single election system, ballot system should use blockchain technology. Card games use blockchain, like collectible card games use blockchain technology. If you, like banks are moving towards blockchain technology. They still haven't, so it's not safe. So now that computers can write their own code, all you need is a computer slightly smarter than a human, and bam! Your currency gets hacked off the banks. People are scared of Bitcoin getting hacked. People are hacking Bitcoin and MMOs because it's less traceable than hacking a bank. But with the right technology, you can hack the bank, get your money, and obviously the bank will try to charge it back, but it's like you can steal money from a bank. It's not just like video game players and online Bitcoin cryptocurrency users that can get hacked. Everybody can get hacked because humans are shitty coders. And like, if you are a programmer, like, like, yes, oh my god. Because any coder will know that most of the time you spend writing code is actually debugging code. And most of the code you write is going to get scrapped and rewritten because that's just how coding works. Because humans make so many mistakes. Okay. So, get a computer that can exploit all that, and you're screwed. Because we have computers like we already have computers passing the Turing test by just not saying anything. And they're like, I can't tell if it's a computer or a human. We already have, that's like supposed to be the test for like sentience or self-awareness. But like, to me, consciousness, anyways, I could talk about consciousness and why I think animals should be treated as people and why I think, AI that express self-awareness and cognitive abilities should be treated as people and given people rights and human rights and animal rights. I mean, not give the animal rights to the animals and the AI rights to the AI, but it should all be identical to human rights. With like exceptions for how you like weigh consciousness, like I'm not going to get into it. So, I think I'm done the video. That's everything I had to say. So in summary, America toppled Libya. Now Russia, China, Iran, Iraq, anyone in the Middle East or Asia is like, yeah, we don't really trust America. And even NATO's like, America's a wild cannon. And like, China's allies are like, America's a wild cannon. And America's like, what do you mean the Earth is going to be uninhabitable? It's a Chinese hoax. and then you have like fucking water protectors on the terrorist watch list, while Al-Qaeda branch like Al-Nusra Front is off the terrorist watch list, even though they're the ones like training children to have seizures and wear oxygen masks and stage false flag sarin gas chemical attacks. And it's like, why not put fucking Al-Qaeda and their branch, the Al-Nusra Front, on the watch list? But now if you go on Google or YouTube or Twitter or TV, everything but like RT News and Jimmy Dore Show and some independent journalists like Eva Bartlett and Syrian Partisan Girl and Rania Khalek. Everything but, should I say like Debbie Lusignan and what's her name? Sibel Edmonds? Like, should I mention them too? Like, yeah, they're independent journalists. They're like the more like fringe. Like, I consider them fringe, and I'm already fringe, so. But they're pretty woke. So, yeah. When everything but like the independent journalists is already bought out by intelligence agencies, and corporations, like rich corporations, then you have this like control of the news, and you're like, if you try to look up Al-Nusra Front, you're like, They're not a part of Al Qaeda. What are you talking about? And you try to look up sarin attacks, you find like Amnesty International being like, Assad killed people on a bus, and then like if you look up RT News, you're like, here are the buses which were supposedly bombed, and you like just see this convoy of buses driving by with like refugees inside. It's funny, but no, it's actually hilarious. Like you look at. You look at the guys in Al Nusra front just like telling the kids to lay down. The kids like lay down and start like having the seizure. And then the guy like puts on the gas mask and like winks at the cameraman and like makes a speech about, I don't know what the speech, I can't understand the language, I don't speak. I don't know what language it was. But yeah, if you had like a photo of Jesus Christ, like actually Jesus Christ, like, most Americans would be like, yeah, that's a Muslim. What? Arabs are not Muslims. Just like Caucasians are not Christians. It's like, one's an ethnicity and one's a religion. Muslim means you worship, like, that your religion is Islam, right? Jesus was an Arab Jew. And like, that doesn't mean he worships Islam. Was Islam even around? Islam is like, has stories about Jesus, so like, how could it have been around when he was alive? And then you have older religions like the Vedas. Like, the Vedas are like the most holy book of all. They predate the Bible and the Torah, the Korah. And then you look at the Vedas and like, this guy's like, I wonder if God exists. Good question, eh? Like, this is your holy scripture for like Buddhism and Hinduism. Sorry. Now this video is like gonna get taken down for like harassing religious affiliations. But like, how is it? It's like not a single affiliation, right? Like, that's all the major religions I've covered. Like, I've bashed Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam. So like, it's not discrimination if I'm bashing all of them, right? Should I bash atheists too? Atheists, atheist is a stupid word because it can mean weak atheist, strong atheist. But atheist is like as nebulous as the term God, because to be an atheist, you have to properly define what God you're talking about. So usually I'm an agnostic, and then once someone says, oh yeah, I worship this God, then I'm like, oh no, I don't believe in that. Or like, I believe the universe is awesome, and we should be happy about the universe existing, and that's what I worship. Then I'm like, I guess the universe exists. Then someone's like, I believe in simulation theory and that the universe was created by a computer programmer. Then I'm like, I guess I'm a weak atheist / agnostic towards that because I have no fucking clue whether that's true, and it wouldn't matter to me. Like, you can't even apply Pascal's wager to panentheism. So yeah, panentheism is like, the universe is great, let's worship the universe. But then there's other forms of panentheism where, like, the universe is benevolent and really cares about humans, so... anyways, I won't get into, like, why atheism is, like, really obvious for any god defined as benevolent towards humans or animals or any mortal which is doomed to die of age. Damn it! I got into it. Anyways. Where was I ranting? I don't know. I'm just having fun bashing religion, so... YouTube can take down the video because I'm discriminating against stupidity? I don't know. Schizophrenia? But yeah, all of this Cold War, really good for price of Bitcoin. So I think the price will go up to 17,000 Canadian. And then, like, and who knows? Then it'll probably crash and rise and crash and rise and crash and rise and crash and rise. But like, I don't know. What is that in American dollars? Let's do the math for some peeps. Don't lag on me. CAD to USD. Okay, right now the price is 14,000. Okay, the price is like 1080 or 10,800-ish. US dollar, 10,900. US dollars right now per Bitcoin. A Bitcoin is one block, okay? And there's like 16 million blocks of Bitcoin. Wait, 16 million? Wait a minute. If there's 16 million blocks, then how much is Bitcoin worth? Like all of Bitcoin. It's a million, a billion. $174 billion. All of Bitcoin. 174 billion. So yeah, if there's like rich investors who are like, I want to evade taxes, then they can be like, I'll buy a bunch of Bitcoin. And that's bad, which is why like China started regulating it, which like, I think that's what caused the one crash. But then it just went back up. And obviously it's going to crash again. It could crash like right now. It could crash like tomorrow. But I think there's enough like not stimulators. Simulators? The people who buy and sell on like loans and what are those crappy investors called? Simulators. I don't know. I said the word before. I always, damn it. Whatever. Slipping my mind. What is a Freudian slip? I don't know. And then I think the price will go up to 13,000 US dollars. So that's like a safe time to sell. And after that, it's the there's that word for the investors. Why do I always blank on this? But yeah, I don't think it'll fall below like 7,000 US dollars. So if the price ever falls below $10,000 US, you want to buy, unless it's during a crash, in which case you want for it to like hit rock bottom and then go up. But yeah, rock bottom is because even if you ban the tax evasion, there is still, well, obviously there's like uses for Bitcoin, like it's safer than paper money. And you can like actually pay people if like women are banned from having income in certain countries, then you can actually pay them with Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin or whatever the fuck. But sorry for swearing all the time. That gets around the Guardian program. But no, there's like Bitcoin is just safer than banks. Obviously, if you keep it like on another website, then it's only as safe as that database. But if you have like cold storage and your own, like download the blockchain, you make your root key, and they make cold storage, then like, unless you lose that root key, or like someone finds your root key, or someone finds your cold storage USB drive, they're not going to get your money. Maybe if like your house burns down, then you might like lose it. But you can just keep it in your wallet, so I think you're good. If you like die, if you die, then like nobody will know how to like open your wallet. But like other than that, I guess you put it in your will. I forget what I was gonna look up. Oh yeah, so there's all these investors, like what happened with the wheat market, you know, like 100 years ago or whatever. Push up the price, it goes up and up and up, and then they crash. So if you see the price rising fast, it's because there's like all these investors trying to raise the price. But if like the price drops fast, then you should be like, okay, when's it going to start evening out? And that's when I want to buy. And it can take like, it can even out in like 24 hours and then it goes up again. So that's what's happening with Bitcoin. If you are selling to someone, you want their government ID and a selfie saying, I'm buying Bitcoin from you on this website, and then like their government ID, like driver's license, passport, I don't know what other stuff people use. And then there is, never use PayPal. PayPal is designed for like refunds. So Just never buy anything with PayPal ever, unless it's from like a company you trust. If it's like from some random dude being like, I'll sell you some crypto for PayPal, and then the money's in escrow and you release the money after he's paid you, then he's like, oh, I got his money. Now I'll just refund the PayPal. Joke's on you. Okay, so I don't want that to happen to me, so I'm not going to buy from PayPal or... Oh my god, there's just so many scammers. I guess the safest would be... Well, I guess wire transfer and Western Union... No, I guess wire transfer is the safest, right? Yeah, wire transfer would be the safest. Can't think of anything safer than a wire transfer. Because there's no refunds on a wire transfer. But that has like a $30 to $100 fee. So, what's it called? A Swift? No, it's called a wire transfer. There's like a different word. I don't know. I don't have anything else to talk about. No Game, No Life 0 came out on Blu-ray. It's nice. Someone found it creepy. I found it awesome. It's like... I don't know. It's very anime. If you're a weeboo, then you'll probably like it. It was almost reminiscent of Eve no Jikan, Time of Eve. Yeah, that was nice. What else should I talk about? I mean, yeah, Bitcoin's like stock market. If you invest, it's like 50-50 goes up or down. But if you buy low, then like, you're gonna make money. Dude, but like, oh. Nobody will buy from you if you don't like, if you're not like trusted, verified. Like, you know, on all the gold selling websites, how there's like people with like 1,000 trades who are like, I'll be your middleman. There's websites for Bitcoin where you don't need a middleman to do the escrow. The website will do the escrow for you. So always use escrow when you're buying cryptocurrency. And whoever is sending the paper money from the bank needs to give their government ID. And whoever is releasing the cryptocurrency needs to check the ID and have a photo of the receipt. Yeah. The receipt, the government ID, the selfie saying you're buying from them. With those three things, it's safe to buy cryptocurrency. And then you transfer it from like localbitcoins.com to your wallet, to your cold storage, right? I use Armory, but I think there's better programs out there. Because Armory, oh my god, the download's like 160 gigabytes or something. I don't know. It's a ridiculous download. 100 gigabytes, 120. It takes a long time to actually download the full blockchain. So if you're only storing like $500, I wouldn't bother. What else? And like the stock market, you can flip the money, right? You can flip from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Litecoin to Dogecoin to US dollars to Canadian dollars. Yeah. I'm not going to show you a receipt. Some banks don't want you to buy Bitcoin. Like, they're a competitor. I mean, there's no organization. It's just open source, but yeah, you probably don't want to tell the bank that you're buying a Bitcoin unless you absolutely have to. And then if you're buying like more than $20,000 worth of Bitcoin, you could always lie and say like, I'm doing an online purchase. Because that's like actually true, right? Do you have to pay taxes on it? Because I know when I transfer from like US dollars to Canadian, I don't have to pay taxes on that. So like, I don't know. If you're worried about people being like, why is there $50,000 showing up on your bank deposits? Then you should like maybe report it as an income. But I should look that up because I'm actually trading more and more now. This is all from like the $2,000 in July, but now it just explodes in value because there's so many scared people who like don't understand international politics and how tax havens work. So yeah. Rich people don't want asset forfeiture. Rich people don't want to pay taxes. So that's why there's like that's why the price of Bitcoin will like hover around like 10,000 US dollars, 8,000 US dollars. But then there's people who like know that it's safer than banks and that it's more convenient to like send overseas than banks transfers, and that it's like just it's better technology, right? Like it's harder to hack, it's better than paper money, can't get stolen. So if you're careful enough. So that's why the price isn't going to drop below 6,000 USD. But yeah, like how high it's gonna rise, I don't know. I don't know what these investors want. They're just gonna push the price as high as they can and then sell. Like they don't fucking care if there's a crash. But yeah, the closer we are to thermonuclear war, better for Bitcoin. You can see with the Cold War now against the between America and NATO and the RSII coalition that the stuff is getting censored, right? Like if you talk about Syrians, the false flags, there's already like basically my YouTube videos on false flag attacks are getting like 2 frames per second. It's basically almost as if net neutrality was gone. These videos on YouTube, they put some like filter on them. So like if you go to the Jimmy Dore show and be like, tell me about Syria, the videos will like have 2 frames per second. Fucking ridiculous. So that's like, I guess there's some people in the CIA who were like, oh shit, we probably shouldn't let everybody know that like the White House has actually been sending like $21 million to the White Helmets and that they're affiliate of Al-Nusra Front, which is an affiliate of Al-Qaeda. That's like bad. Or like they started out as a branch of Al-Qaeda. Now they're like also, White Helmets are like for CIA surrogates. So like, yeah, people want a pipeline from Syria to Qatar to like pump the oil, and they also want to topple Assad because he's not selling the oil in US dollars. So like that's bad for like that makes like Russia financially independent of America when it comes to oil, and financially independent of America when it comes to US dollars. So now, because of fucking Assad, America can't just say like, okay, Russia's money now has 0 value. Like, America can't do that. They actually, like, there's more than one currency in the world now. It's not just US dollars. There's also the RSII coalition, which has its own currency, which is, like, kind of based off the value of whatever they export. And then there's, like, American currency, which is based off the value of their monopoly on the oil market, and they can print out as much money as I want, because the value will stay the same as long as they maintain that throttle on the oil export, because it creates demand for petrodollar, I mean, US dollar. And then there's like Bitcoin, which is just like another currency, which is easy. Like you don't have to go through the banks to exchange currencies. So Bitcoin's good for exchanging currency, and it's not trackable, it's anonymous, and rich people love to break the law. I mean, okay, that's really mean. I apologize for that. There are a lot of billionaires who love to break the law, and if you can't get tracked doing it, then you're less likely to go to jail. I mean, not that a billionaire would go to jail, but you still get in trouble sometimes when you break the law. So if you have billions in dollars and you want to break the law, then Bitcoin's the way to do it. And that's why billionaires who want safer tax havens would choose Bitcoin. Now just so obviously there's a light side and a dark side. You can pay women in countries where women aren't allowed to get paid, and you can evade taxes. But yeah, I don't think asset forfeiture should be a tactic for Cold Wars. So if you're from Russia or one of the countries where the Muslim ban, any Arab country that's not Saudi Arabia, if you're not armed to the teeth with missiles and bombs, then and you're Arabic, then you might get targeted. And if you're Russian, you might get targeted. If you're Syrian, Iranian, Pakistani, Somalian, Yemeni, Nigerian, Iraqi, or Afghani, did I say those right? Then you might get targeted by asset forfeiture, which basically means White House takes your money. I mean, the police already do that, but yeah. So that also creates demand for Bitcoin. So it's I guess if you work in the intelligence agencies, then you're fuck Bitcoin. But if you don't, you're I mean, it's safer than Wall Street. Safer than Wall Street. Yeah. And if there's a crash, you sell. If the crash ends, you buy. That's... If everybody does that, then you get these fluctuations, and the people dipping their foot get the short end of the stick. Because you're ultimately making all of this money off of the other people who are investing in Bitcoin. Oh, speculators! That's the word for the investors. The investors who boost up the price? Speculators. But speculators have the money backing them to boost up the price. So the speculators will boost up the price, there'll be a crash, and then you buy. And then the speculators will boost up the price again. But there's also speculation that the speculators boost up the price up to $1 million. And I think that's bullshit. But I mean, because at some point everything crashes, right? If there is market manipulation, Bitcoin is all about market manipulation. And people love rich people can make the most money for their dollar off of market manipulation. So when there is market manipulation, once the profits are made, once people want to make their profits, they can just dump their Bitcoin, take the profits, the market crashes because there's no longer the buy wall, and it goes back to 10,000 US dollars or 8,000 US dollars per block. But right now it's at almost 11,000 US dollars per block, right? So it's going to keep rising, and it's going to crash. And here's a piece of advice. If you're damn, I should have bought earlier. That's what you're going to say a month from now. Because to buy is always more expensive than to sell. Alright. I'm done here. Why did I make that video? I don't know. Because I love to rant about, like, American foreign affairs. Oh, was my head cut off the whole time? No! It's so you can't see you don't want to see my messy room. You do not want to see my messy room. Sayonara!